I'm Justin Lesko, a Brazilian Jiu Jitsu brown belt and former pro MMA fighter.
And I'm Mike Callahan, a Brazilian Jiu Jitsu brown belt and a law enforcement officer.
Joining us today is a decorated BJJ commentator and instructor.
He's commentated events such as Fight to Win, the ADCC East Coast Trials, Dead Serious MMA, and the Finisher Sub-Only Series.
He is a first-degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and an instructor at South Jersey BJJ in Berlin, New Jersey, and an instructor at Studio 84 in Cream Ridge, New Jersey.
Sounds like a pretty epic resume.
I see my knack for segues has rubbed off on you.
Yeah, Diana J's always said that you've been a pretty bad influence. But anyways, Epic Roll BJJ is a lifestyle brand that has all of your needs covered.
Need a rash guard? They've got you covered. Shorts? Got them. Hoodies? Got them. Joggers, artwork, hats, t-shirts, they've got it all.
Just head over to epicrollbjj.com. Don't forget to use the coupon code podcast15 for 15% off of all your orders.
You can give them a follow on Instagram at epicrollbjj. And like Mike said, use the coupon code podcast15 at epicrollbjj.com and take 15% off your order.
I've already used up my one segue for the show, so we'll get right to it. Please welcome to the show, Jay Regalbuto.
Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on, man. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, excited to do it, man. How you guys, man?
You know, surviving, just trying to stay alive in 2020, 2021.
Like everybody else, man. That's cool.
Before
you guys started this during that, right?
Yeah, we started this back in June, just out of boredom and lack of jiu-jitsu. We just started doing the show and managed to survive for a year doing it. So we're just plugging along.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys do great ones, man. I've listened to a bunch of them over the last couple weeks.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll take that as a compliment, considering I'm the talent on the show, Jay. So thank you very much. I appreciate that.
I think I've done an Instagram poll before, and you haven't been the post, but yeah, you've done both of some matches for us, right?
Yeah. Fight
sure.
At least Fight to Win. Were you guys on anything else?
I think you would have just done us on Fight to Win, probably.
Yeah, Fight to
Yeah.
Win, yeah.
Well, before we get into all just like the pure commentary stuff, you know, the first thing we always ask people when they come on the show is how you got started in jiu-jitsu. So how did you come to find BJJ?
Yeah, so in 2005, 2006, a friend of mine from high school was training at Ricardo Almeida's. It was Ricardo's second location. He was in a gym in Burlington or Willingboro for a while, and then moved up to that Trenton area. And my friend had started training with Ricardo, and Ricardo had a black belt, Steve Bongiorno, who was very close with my friend Steve, that's why my friend Steve went and started training. And when Steve Bongiorno got his black belt, he left to start his own school. So he was going to do a little seminar at a karate school down here by us. It actually wasn't anywhere near me. I lived in Burlington City at the time, and this was in Berlin. So it was like an hour drive. But my buddy was like, dude, come so that there's like people there at least. Like, yeah, at least so there'll be people there, not just the karate guys. And I said, all right. And I brought two of my cousins, and we did the seminar. And I was like, all right, dude, I'm down. I haven't done anything since, wrestling when I was like, out of high school. I wrestled till I was like 20, and then I just did nothing for like 6 years. And so I went, I liked it, and I was like, dude, I'll give it a go. And my two cousins did it too. So we're like students 1, 2, and 3 for the South Jersey BJJ. I'm student number 1 from there. And I would go when my buddy was training at Ricardo's. He had like mats he lived with his grandma, and he had mats in his basement. So I would go over there, and I wrestled from when I was like 4 till I was like 20. After high school, I would just do like Mawas and stuff like that. Just local tournaments. Didn't do anything collegiately or anything like that. But so I would go down his basement. So I had a good base and everything like that. And I was much bigger than he was. I probably had 50 pounds on him. So he taught me like a key lock and a Kimura. and I would just go key lock him in Kimura over and over in his grandma's basement until I finally got on the mats and started doing it. But that was it, man. I fell in love with it. I started teaching it at like blue belt. I started teaching teens and then basic classes. And that's it, man. I've been teaching, not training ever since, but teaching ever since.
So you're at two locations, right? You said you're one of the originals at South Jersey, and then now you're linked up with Studio 84.
Yes. So South Jersey is so I teach 6 a.m. classes there. South Jersey, again, it's been around since 2006. South Jersey Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Steve Bongiorno is the one who owns that too. I'm a first-degree black belt. I'm first-degree black belt under him. He's under Ricardo Almeida. And so I teach 6 a.m.s there. During the pandemic, I used to teach a lot, man. I used to teach like 12 classes a week at South Jersey. And then, obviously when the pandemic hit, went to teaching like no classes. And but during the pandemic, it's hard for a school like South Jersey to even do stuff secretively because it's such a big school. You know what I mean? It had over 300 students. It was a big thing.
Wow.
So there was there's a lot of gathering at, with the competitors. For me, with the competitors, trying to make sure that they stayed training and stuff like that. We were finding local spots, and Guy Mione, who owns Studio 84, I was hitting him up a ton to have my guys come up and train at a spot he had kind of tucked away that some good competitors were going to. So my guys were able to at least get decent training a few days a week. And Guy's a competitor, a guy that owns Studio 84. He's a brown belt Masters World Champion, no gi, ton of pan titles. Like he's a very good competitor, been on Fight to Win. He competes a ton. He's a very good competitor. And he's successful in his own personal business, and just jiu-jitsu is something he really loved. And Guy, early on, he's under Tom DeBlas. He's a black belt under DeBlas and Nick Catone. Early on, he was one of the early guys like training and traveling with Gary Tonin and stuff when Gary was still at Ocean County before he kind of made the move up to Henzo's. So the guy's always been competitive by nature, but so he saw kind of where, this 99% of jiu-jitsu is hobbyist related.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's not a ton of love for, and it's not about a ton of love for competitors, but they don't pay bills. You know what I mean? And school owners aren't in this to go broke. So if there's one spot that it's going to lack, it's definitely going to be on the competitive side of things, because the hobbyists, again, are what's paying the bills. So Guy, when he opened Studio 84, he had wanted to be able to give that experience to hobbyists of being able to have, or not the hobbyists, but the school to be able to have the competitors come in. And like we have John Combs coming in now. He had brought me aboard. We have Keith Corian coming aboard now, where, listen, when a white belt starts, they don't know who John Combs is. They don't know who I am. They don't know who Keith Corian is. They don't know who Guy is. But once they start going and realizing, because we stay competitive, we stay constantly, try to stay on the circuit as much as possible in the big tournaments and the big shows. And so you start seeing that, man, my coach, people kind of know this guy is really good at what he does. Right. And, we were finding out that from a hobbyist perspective, getting to learn from high-level instructors, even your fundamentals and stuff like that's really proving to be an effective strategy. And when you have a lot of hobbyists that like to be able to be around competitors like that, I mean, they're paying the bills so that these competitors can get paid and be able to train like a professional. And, their job is just jiu-jitsu, teach them, basic and advanced and kids classes. And the rest of the time they can spend getting ready and focusing on what they have. So Studio 84 was kind of based on that when he opened up. And we started doing classes in like September. And so we're only like 7 months in or so. And we're opening the second location about 30 minutes east or 30 minutes west of where we're at now. And that's where Corian's going to come in, and he'll be the head instructor there. I'll be up there. Guy will be up there. But this will give us the opportunity to run professional classes 7 days a week.
That's incredible.
With coaching that's focused on competing, So South Jersey, I do 6 a.m.s. It's while it's very hobbyist related, I still teach very, very not advanced, not very advanced techniques, but I still teach the stuff did my 6 a.m.s at South Jersey, then teaching to the competitors at Studio 84. So while they're hobbyists, my 6 a.m.s at South Jersey, they're still like monsters and can, and can hang. They're good. They were, a lot of those guys were the people that helped, me prep Nicky Rod and Amanda Levy for trials, and MMA fighters for fights. So my 6 a.m. squad at South Jersey, while it's a hobbyist crew, it's not exactly not a bunch of pushovers for a bunch of hobbyists, that's for sure.
Well, to wake up at 6 a.m. for jiu-jitsu, you're probably taking it pretty seriously. So usually the early morning classes produce the biggest killers because they have to be invested enough to get out of bed at least 5:50 a.m. to get there by 6. So it's a different level of dedication.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah,
it's not for everybody. It really isn't. But again, when people ask me, they say like, how do you when you look at a competitor, how do you know that person's going to be special or that one's going to be? And I say, dude, I pay attention. I put a post out about this too a little bit ago. I pay attention to the ones that are in front of me, because if you're making my classes at 6 a.m., listen, we're Studio 84s. It's not in a convenient area. You guys are from Jersey, right? You're both from Jersey, right?
We're originally from Pennsylvania. I live in New Jersey now. Mike still lives in Pennsylvania. I don't want to distract your thought too much, but you've listened to our show. Mike tends to hate on New Jersey a lot, so I'm curious what he's got to say now now that he's outnumbered.
Either, man.
See, and this guy fucking lives there. This fucking guy lives there.
Bro, jiu-jitsu and my business are all that's keeping me here, man.
That's great. What's your excuse, Justin?
I don't, I was actually enjoying this episode so far, but it's a shame I have to throw it right in the trash bin now. You guys are gagging up on.
Tell him how much you hate wrestling, Justin. Tell him how much you hate wrestling.
Mike just tries to get me in trouble. I don't hate wrestling. It's just not as good as guard.
Yeah, that's great.
So back to your thoughts. Sorry, we interrupted you.
Yeah, so like Cream Ridge isn't in a convenient area. While it's a beautiful drive, it's 50 minutes from where I live. It's my competitors, that's almost an hour drive for them. It's nowhere near where they live. We have people come from Syracuse. I have people come from Long Island to those classes, Manhattan. Like, people drive from like far distances to come to that room. And I like to think it has something to do with the technique of what's being taught, but the people that are in it, and they make you want to come and train in the room. But like I said, so those competitors, like, are showing up at 6 a.m. or showing up, driving, hours and hours, to show up. Those are the ones that are going to succeed. Those are the ones that got the drive. And listen, it's not for everybody. It's not.
Yeah, you see if anyone listening has seen Jay's Instagram page, or you look at those pictures of those rooms at Studio 84, and it doesn't look like a school that was just recently opened. It looks like you have packed rooms, and I know looks can be deceiving, but it looks like a room full of killers.
I'll tell you that on some nights there's nights that I have like 3 80cc vets on the mats at that class, world champions, and we have other competitors coming in. It's funny because it's kind of growing more where people are where it's more in-house stuff. Like, our guys are getting really, really, really good, really quick. And it's obviously from the talent that we have that comes in to take the pro classes. But I'll be honest, man, if 3/4 of the people, if there's 30 people on the mats, which is usually between like 25 and 35 people, and it's not a big place yet either, so it gets tight in there. But man, I'll be honest, if 20 of them went out to advanced classes around, they'd probably smoke the room in no-gi, like, they're that talented. And then they'll come here and not even win a round.
Right.
Yeah. When Nicky Rod's home, what happens when you go, Combs, Nicky Rod, our big guy, Steve Joachim, it's just like killer after killer after killer, man. It's cool. And not for nothing, dude, the women, it's one of the most dangerous female rooms. Amanda Levy, who I don't think gets enough credit. Now, granted, she had to take some time off with injuries and stuff like that. But, like, on the card tomorrow night, she submitted Clay. She submitted Grindotti twice. She's finished Gatus, or she beat Gatus. Like, she's beat the majority of the women on that card. I would love to see her with rousing. I would love to get him see that match. But from Gracie Baja.
Right.
But dude, the women, Brittany Elkin's getting ready to fight Clarissa Shields in
Yeah.
PFL.
Yeah,
the Olympic boxer. So Britt trains up at studio a few days a week at my pro classes. Sam Brister, a CFFC, a female fighter, man. She's a monster. Daniel Kelly will be in there. Trinity Pond, man. She's a monster. She's in that room. So it's male, female. Like, there's no easy rounds. Like, there's a very good chance if you come in that room for the first time that you'll get submitted by a 15-year-old girl.
That's how you know you're in the right room.
That's just being honest. That's just being, and I get it. And then you have to tell the person, bro, it's nothing you can really do, man. She's really that good.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Amanda Levy and Nicky Rod. Now, Amanda, she won the East Coast Trials, didn't she?
No, she won. So we went East Coast Trials. They don't do female.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. What they only do the West Coast Trials, right?
Yeah. So Nick had 6 months of training, and he took third. He lost to Hudson Taylor in the semis, and then he took third. And he went there. Then we went to West Coast Trials, and it was only like 3 days before maybe the West Coast Trials. And Amanda was always just training with me anyway. She was just always ready to go, always ready to fight. And I was like, dude, you should do the trials, man. You look good, And her dad said the same thing to her when she went home. And then I texted her one more time, and she was like, all right, I'll do it. So she decided to fly out. So we went out with her brother, Evan Levy, who's a brown belt, who's also an absolute monster. What's funny is he probably had the quickest submission in ADCC West Coast Trials, but they knocked out the TV as they were rolling into the heel hook. He had like a 15-second heel hook, and he knocked out the TV, and nobody got to see it. But and Daniel Kelly went out with us too, and Nick and Amanda won the West Coast Trials. So I got 7 gold medals got given out, and 2 of them came from a room in South Jersey.
That's crazy.
Training at 6 a.m. 2 of the 7 gold medals went to 2 people from this area. And Not For Nothing Combs was on the podium for that too. So it's cool to have him out here because he was one of the trials winners as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
See, New Jersey's
and
not
that's
all
where
bad.
That's where Amanda submitted Grandotti in the
Grandotti,
finals.
yeah.
She submitted Clay, rear naked choke Clay in the semis.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Little off topic. She was in that the series that Flow Grappling did, or not that Flow Grappling did, that Fight to Win did, the team series. Who was she with? She was with Dylan Royce and
she was with Dylan and
Alex Myers. Okay.
Yeah, and she beat Rafaela Gaitis that night.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right, and that was Amanda not even like really training. Like now she's like training, and she beat Gaitis like that.
That's good. That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm still kind of amazed that obviously he had a background, but 6 months and Nick is out there cleaning up at trials. Do you see that potential right away the first time you're seeing him on the mat? Are you looking at him going, this is a guy who's going to be a guy, or what's that process?
Yeah. So here's the thing with him is, dude, there is so many higher ranked or have done more in college in wrestling than Nick has. Nick's not even accomplished in wrestling in college. He did 1 year and went like 34-6 or something like that. Like didn't place in nationals. He's a very good wrestler, especially for jiu-jitsu. Very good wrestler for jiu-jitsu, and his takedown. He's very talented there, but he is an athlete like nothing I've ever seen. I don't think people realize that there's plenty of D1 wrestlers in jiu-jitsu. You don't see them doing anything even close to what he's doing, let alone in that short amount of time. But here's the thing too, is that the work ethic, the best thing that happened to Studio was when the Studio 84 was when the squad moved to Puerto Rico and Nick was here for like an extra 2.5 months because he was with us every single day. And he showed the competitors exactly how you have to train to be a champion and how hard you have to work to be a champion. And then he's the last one off the mats. He's never taken rounds off. He's focusing. He doesn't, he's playing guard. He's focusing on things that he's working on. You know what I mean? He puts himself in bad positions. But so that aside, his work ethic is really what made him excel the way he did. But yeah, so the first day I got a call from one of my friends, and he was like, dude, and my friend doesn't like call me and be like, dude, somebody came in and just ran the mat. But he was like, dude, man, this dude came in and he's like, he's a monster, man. It was everything I had just to keep him off me. So then when I went in the next day, the owner of the school, my instructor, Steve Bongiorno, he was like, yeah, man, this dude's pretty good, man. He's like a big wrestler. I don't know how to handle him, man. He's like likes no-gi, doesn't like gi, which is right up my alley. And we had already been working with Amanda for a while at the 6 a.m. So my 6 a.m.s were already a very tough class. And my Wednesday 6 a.m.s, I have Luke Zayman. He is a black belt under Ricardo Almeida and a unbelievably high IQ when it comes to leg locks. And he's been with me at 6 a.m.s for a very long time on Wednesday. And that's why my guys are very, knowledgeable of defending and attacking legs because of Luke. Big team effort over here. I'm a big team effort. I mean? But I saw Nick and he didn't know how to pass a guard and armbar somebody, but he knew that if he could get a hold of your wrist and get his legs near your head, he could armbar you. And he knew that if he got a hold of your ankle and was able to control your leg, he could knee bar you. So he would just propel his giant body at you because you start playing guard. If you started standing with him, he would snap you down and your head would like bounce off the floor, right? So you would pull guard just to try to be in some kind of safe position. And he would just propel his body over and like try to grab your arm and flying arm bar you, or got a hold of your foot, he would just spin around and go for a knee bar real quick. Not trying to hurt anybody. I don't want to be taken the wrong way. He wasn't like wild where he was hurting people, but he wanted to get after it, And so I talked to him after that class and pulled him off the mat, and I'm like, dude, if you're serious about this, you're definitely good. Come join me at 6 a.m.s. So he started doing that. I started making sure he was training like 5 days a week. So 3 weeks later, it was a very short period of time. I said, dude, let's jump in this tournament. It was at Grappling Industries. It was down the shore. I said, let's do the absolute and the ultra heavy, expert divisions. And let's just see what happens. They're all going to pull guard on you. If they wrestle, take them down. It's points, so we'll score points. But just staying away from guillotines, not follow them into a guard, things like that. He knew a Kimura, key lock, rear naked choke. You know what I mean? He was actually really good at getting to arm bars. And, dude, he won all 7 matches, just smoked everybody. It was crazy. Beating black belts, brown belts, purple belts, 7 matches, went 7-0. We waited like another 2 weeks and did the Naga battle at the beach. Same thing, dude. He just smokes everybody. And there was like a collegiate wrestler who was a blue belt world champion. Same thing, dude. He just rolls through everybody. And that's when I was like, dude, you're really good, man. And if you're serious about this, there is a tournament in 2 months or 3 months that I legit think you can win, and it's big. And it was the East Coast Trials. And it was difficult. It was at that point it started to be, now I have to find him hard rounds so he knows what it's like. Because I'm going to be honest, if you're just and I don't mean this in any disrespectful way, but if you're just a regular hobbyist black belt, like, you didn't stand a chance. My competitive white belts and blue belts can submit regular black belts fairly easily. So to find him hard rounds, I had to start, thank God, through commentary and just, being in the around competitions for so long, I had some decent friendships. And James Booth, black belt under Daniel Gracie, big dude, and he had a big room over there or a big guy room with Zoo and Alex Myers and Billy Conway and Kyle Myers. So I reached out to Booth, and I would start sending him over to Booth's place too on a couple nights a week so that he was getting that hard training. And a month before the East Coast Trials, I was able to get him. It's funny too. I said, my goal as a coach is to have you be the best that you can be. I have a career. I'm good. I don't need any kind of accolades or anything like that. So I know how far I could take you as a coach and as a competitor. And I don't want to leave you in a position where you're stalling out because I can't give you anymore. So I said, I'm really going to try to get you in a room to remind you, he knows nothing about anybody in
it's
this
like
sport.
we're like a month into his career, right?
Yes. Yeah. He knows nothing about anything or anybody. And I said, listen, and I've known Gordon. We're all under the same affiliation. I've known Gordon since he was 16. You know what I mean? I've known probably since he was like 12, competing and just seeing him around. They would come. I've had him there for seminars all the time. So I said, here's the thing though. It's the best competitor in the world and it's the best coach in the world, but you're in his division. So they're either going to say, man, this guy would be great to have on the team, or they're going to say, get out of here, man. Why don't you train somewhere else? Then the ADCC will talk. But I got him to go do a private with Gordon. And I thought that if Gordon could just put his hands on him and feel him and see that he's not like regular, he's different. And I knew that even just a private lesson should get that. I'll get that answer right away. And that was it. He was back up the next day and it was back there ever since. And I'll tell you, having that happen, not only obviously has helped his career a ton, but I can't tell you how much I've learned from him and from that experience about how to handle athletes and what they need and what to do. So honestly, he's different than any competitor I've ever worked with. He's just a very, very special talent. Athletically, mentally, I've never met anybody with a mindset like he does. There's nobody that can beat him in his mind, and that's how you have to be as a competitor. And again, for the competitors in Studio 84 to get to have that around them for like 2.5, 3 months, they carried it as soon as he left.
People talk about how dominant Gordon Ryan's run was through ADCC, but looking back on it, if you take into account how long Nick Rodriguez had been training, it's something that strikes me as far more impressive, especially given he was going up against fucking monsters, like a Muhammad Ali, Orlando Sanchez, that Cyborg match. Like to this, I remember I was texting people. I'm like, this fucking kid just beat Muhammad Ali. Now, now he's got to fight Orlando Sanchez, and see. 2 seconds into the Orlando Sanchez match, you're like, he's gonna fucking beat Orlando Sanchez, and then you're like, oh, he beat Orlando Sanchez. What's his? Oh, now he's got to face Cyborg. When he beat Cyborg, you're like, who's gonna fucking stop this kid? I was blown away. He didn't win it, but that was such an impressive performance, giving everything. And to see his game evolve even more now, you know what I mean? Yeah. Seeing that when I think he was in that quintet with, or what was it? When he was on Craig Jones's team. Was it?
Oh, man, that was fun. And he got the heel. That was it. It was the, hold on. I got it.
BJJ Stars or?
No, it was, come on. It was the one with Uriah Faber, man.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was called. Dang, I thought I'd be able to think of it.
But whatever. I mean, like just seeing him evolve even more. You're like these, and I mean now, and they're down there in Puerto Rico and they're training. It's just like it seems like the sky's the limit for these guys, man. It's crazy.
I don't know if you guys got to watch it, but other than his ADCC and his West Coast trials, those two specific tournaments. Did you guys watch his Kasai tournament when he went against Cyborg, Vinny Magalesh, and Bruno?
Yeah. Yep.
And listen, the only reason he wasn't in the finals was because he beat up Vinny so bad that Vinny couldn't continue. And the technicality was that because he couldn't go against Cyborg, it was considered a submission victory, and he got 2 points. And Nick beating Vinny up that bad and it's sitting out cost him going to the finals.
The match. Yep.
Yeah, still only 3 years in.
Yeah, which is crazy. Like you talk about this guy like he's 10 years in the game. He's been rolling for 3 years. It's crazy. Well, we have you on. I have to talk to you about commentary.
Sure. Yeah.
You're like you seem to be one of the most active guys doing commentary. how did you even get started in that, and how did it take off so much being so active?
Yeah. So do you guys remember the PGL? I don't know how long you've been in
Yeah.
yeah, PGL, Professional Grappling League.
Yeah, it
All
was
right,
way back.
so
Yeah.
yeah, man, it was one of the original, other than like Ultimate Absolute, which if you guys never saw, check that out. But it was one of the first, especially that was like recurring. Like they were having multiple events, not just one big one. And so the guy that started that trained at my noon classes. And when he started it, he was using a bunch of the people at the gym to to do the things, ref, whatever. And he's like, man, why don't you try commentary? This was in 2011 or 2012. And I was like, dude, I'll try it. I don't care. I'll do anything. And it was a bunch of local guys in it. Actually, dude, you know who won it? Joe Selecki, UFC fighter. Joe Selecki.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
He
Yep.
actually won at PGL one. So I did that, and then honestly, I just was doing his stuff, and he did 10 events or 11 events or so, and then he just stopped doing it. It wasn't making money, whatever it may be. And then I started doing a what do you call it? Dead serious, or not dead serious. Oh man, an amateur Asylum MMA. I started doing some MMA stuff, and then I had gone to high school with the guy who owns the Good Fights brother, Jimmy Fortunato, went to school's little brother, and he had reached out and had remembered my commentary from the PGL. And once I started doing the Good Fights, remember they used to do the super matches, but they would do no time limit super matches.
Yep.
Yep.
Oof. You learn how to be a commentator with no time limit matches. Let me tell you that much. Learn a lot about yourself, especially when you're solo.
Yeah.
So, I started doing the Good Fight ones, and then the finishers I started doing with the finishers guys, and did a bunch of events with them. Honestly, it was contacts that I had that kind of just like gave me a shot, and then just kept having me back. Tom DeBlast, when he was running the East Coast Trials, had hooked me up with Ricardo Amendolia to do the East Coast Trials in 2016, and then I did them again in 2018. What else? BJJ Fanatics. That's just a good relationship with the guys up there, and Zeng and them guys. Yeah, the fight to wins are fun. I've probably done like 20 of the fight to wins. I did do one of the subversives too. BJJ Fanatics was fun, dude. You know what else? I did the Keenan and Gordon match, the hour and a half.
I was gonna say that the one, where the fucking stream kept cutting out and everything. That was
Bro,
good.
the phone was dying. I do that on Facebook Live, holding the phone.
Yep.
I had bought like a little microphone thing so that I figured it would be a little clearer, and like 30 seconds into it, because it's the things right here, and like 30 seconds into it, somebody posts on the feed, and they're like, "Yo, tell who's ever holding the phone to stop breathing so heavy." And I'm like, "Oh man, all right." I took the microphone off real quick. But that was an hour and a half holding the cell phone over, and like I'm like, even if it's all quiet in the room, like BJJ Fanatics, when we did it, that was the Gordon Downey one. It was it's a small room, and like there's no fans or anything.
Yep.
You can hear everything I'm saying, but I really don't care about that. Like, I'm there to do the job, so I don't really care what they think.
Right, yeah.
For a different reason. But yeah, some people get a little nervous and like lower their voice around that. I don't know. I never cared, man. I love it. I love the sport. I love talking about it, and I don't know, man. I get really into it. I'll tell you what, the commentary has helped me so much with being able to game plan and help my competitors with what works and what doesn't work. Because you're talking, I've done like 80 some events, like well over 3,000 matches. So I've seen a lot of people at high levels win, and how they win, and what works and what doesn't work. And, when you can kind of take a competitor and weed out all the stuff that's not very high percentage, and just give them high percentage answers to every problem that's in front of them, kind of a quicker learning curve. So commentary, man, I've learned so much. It's helped me so much with coaching as well.
Well, not to put you on the spot, but what's your favorite match that you've ever called? Do you have one?
Yeah.
Obviously, outside of Mike and my matches that you've seen in comment, present company exclusive.
When outside the time when Steve Wilson ass fucked me in front of your face. So
other than that,
yeah.
Man, I've gotten across some good ones. The Gordon Keenan was awesome. I'll tell you and it's not even too crazy, like famous, like the biggest guys I've ever commentated for, but the Mike Padilla versus Wilson Hayes match.
That was unbelievable. I was in the crowd for that one.
Ever.
That was unbelievable. The pace of that match, how Padilla, yeah, because that was right after the guy from Springmount passed away, right? Yeah.
Yep, and he stepped in on very short notice, and that was up for like fight of the year.
Yeah, that match was incredible. How there was I think Padilla had him in a go-go plata at the beginning of the match, and then Wilson had him in some type of darce or a guillotine at the end. It was crazy. It was crazy.
That was probably the most fun match and most memorable match for me that I've commentated. But man, the Keenan Gordon match was incredibly fun, especially from the angle that I got to watch it from. Yeah, I don't know, dude. There's so many good ones, but the Padilla and were definitely probably my favorite match. Wilson Hayes, and I got to call a lot of early. I called it Gary versus Munch. Their first match was in the event called the UGA.
Okay,
and, that was a great match too. The first Gary and Munch match.
How much prep do you do going into those matches? Like, obviously, you're doing like main event stuff. You're gonna know the guys, and you're gonna have prep. But like, when someone like Justin Lesko, even though he's ruggedly handsome, is doing a match, you probably don't know who he is before he gets on the stage. Is it more difficult if you don't know that much about the person to call it?
So here's my approach on the undercard matches that aren't the main event black belts. Is most of those people aren't on this for career purposes. They're on this as a bucket list, something they like to do. So I'm not as much doing background work on them as much as even if one guy is getting slaughtered, is to just describe what's happening in front of me and not make anybody look bad.
Right.
I don't mind doing that in the black belt matches, but when somebody's got 40 friends at home watching him on Fight to Win, I don't want to be and so many commentators do it, man, and that's cool. Everybody's got their own style, their own way. But like, I'll never be like, dude, this dude is getting dogged on the bottom position. You know what I mean? Like, I just, people are in this for different reasons. And I think when you get the experience like Fight to Win gives you, and these other events give you, and give somebody who has to work 40 hours a week, but now gets to be on Flow Grappling, like I'm trying more than anything with those matches to just have both people, present both those people fairly, and where it's not like when Gordon did BJJ Fanatics.
Right.
This guy freaking sucks, man. So as far as the undercard, I'll do a bit of prep, especially if it's higher up in the brown belts. What I'll do is I'll go to Flow or just go to Google and see if I can get any quick matches, just to see a few matches. Know too that I go to so much local competitions that I also know the majority of these grapplers already from watching a bunch of the purple and brown belts compete. When it comes to the black belt matches and the main card, it's like probably 2.5, 3 hours of prep, if not more, for each one. I like to know what similar opponents they've had, if they've gone against each other. I'd like to at least, again, make it sound professional now, because now I go from having, you go from having these undercard matches where you want this to be a great experience for everybody that's involved watching, and both people that are on the mat, and not discouraging and saying, I'll never do that again. They made me look like an idiot. To now for the black belts, I want to have flow doing highlights with my voice on it. So I want it to sound good too. You know what I mean? So I'm making sure that I know all these competitors and what they do. And not for nothing, man, I'm constantly scoping for my guys. You know what I mean? Like I'm constantly making sure I know about the competition for my guys.
It's like you're saying, it's like two different products basically. The undercard and the main card at Fight to Win are two very different products, and I think it's cool to have a different approach. Yeah, Mike and I are not going to be world champions. Sorry, audience. But,
Speak for yourself. Speak for yourself.
Masters, man.
Masters 8 world champion.
Yeah. Well, you know,
somebody's got to win it,
right?
We may or may not have been kicking the tires on doing Masters Worlds this year in November, but you know, I guess we'll just have to stay tuned for an episode in the future. But
they're on their edge of the seats; they're waiting.
Yeah, keeping a captive audience.
Yo, I flew out. I had to do for a work thing, but it was like 2 or 3 years ago. I flew out to Vegas for, and it happened to be the same time as Masters Worlds.
There you go,
bro. Let me tell you what. After Masters 1. It's not a viewer's delight.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
I've never seen so many 2-0 matches in my life.
Yeah.
You get the takedown and they'd be Masters 4, and you hear the coach be like, "Hold him," and I'm like, "Oh my God, there's 4 minutes left."
Dude, imagine doing commentary for those matches.
Yeah. Oh man.
You better know the guy's.
That's awesome.
You better know the guy's life story to be talking about him holding a guy for 4 minutes. Gotta have something to talk about. What do you have on the schedule coming up? Either commentary, coaching. You touched on it a little bit, but what's the next, let's say, month look like for you?
All right, so tomorrow I fly to Miami for Subversive. We got Amanda Levy, John Combs, and Steve Joachim on the card for Subversive. Next weekend, Dante Leone comes into town with me on Friday. He'll probably I got to go to Grappling Industries Saturday morning because I have probably about 5-6 people from Studio 84 competing on that. That night or that day, then I have to go to Finishers Absolutes. I'll have Evan Levy is in the Absolute tournament, and I'll do a commentary, and Steve Joachim has a super match as well. So that's Saturday. So Grappling Industries. Then Sunday, we have a Dante Leone seminar at Studio 84 next Sunday. What else we got? Weekend after that, dude. Then we got people, man. We're prepping for Nogi Pans. The Nogi Pans.
Yeah, it's coming up quick.
That. Yeah, and we have a few people flying out for the Nogi Pans. Man, what else? So Combs is back on the Third Coast for the 185-pound tournament. You know, I don't know, dude. This is like busy season. This is like really busy season for me. Thank God it hits like ebb and flows too, where I'll have like a month where it's just ridiculous, but then like a month where it's like, all right, this isn't so bad. You know, I don't have to do as much traveling, but I wouldn't change it, man. I love it.
Man, it's the grind that we all love. If we can get Justin out of bed at a reasonable hour, maybe we'll hit up one of these 6 a.m. classes, you know?
You'd love it. So, yeah, now I got people prepping for Ring of Combat at the 6 a.m.s too. So now it's starting to wall work and all that stuff starting up at 6 a.m.s over there. So it's a grind every class for these guys, whether they're hobbyists or not. You have no choice.
You mentioned Studio 84, like a new location. Where's that coming to be, and what's the timeline on that? Where's that going to be?
It's opening quick. So where we're settled at now is Cream Ridge, which is it's about 20 minutes east of Trenton. Where we're going to open the second location is Columbus, New Jersey, which is right off exit 52 on 295, only about a mile in, which puts us about 30 minutes closer to Philly, to that northeast, Philly and Bensalem area. But we're directly off of 295, only like a mile and a half off. So as far as an interstate goes, it makes it much easier for people to get to than the Cream Ridge location, which is still going to remain the headquarters with me, Combs, and the main instructor guy running that. And then over in Columbus, it'll be Keith running the majority of the curriculum there, And then I'll be over there, Di will be over there, and I'm sure Combs will probably be teaching a class over there as well. We also have Danielle Kelly that teaches on Sundays. She teaches the women's classes on Sundays. So, like, man, it's great instruction everywhere you go. You're getting, a very new aged perspective.
I'm going to stop you there because believe me, you don't want to sell this because you don't want somebody like Justin in your gym. So what you should start doing is you should start making right. So you want to make this sound like, not appealing. Yeah, it's terrible, Justin. Don't come. I'm going to cut this out.
Late.
No, don't come. Awful.
We've been talking for 45 minutes and then, I'm already sold.
And then message me later and be like, hey, Mike, listen, it's a really cool fucking gym. It's great. It's killers. Come on by. Leave Justin at home. Yeah.
As long as I can put my phone on the little stand next to the mat and get some content for the gram of getting smashed by all the people who are going to be instructing but also killing us all, that I'm fine with that. I just, I need the content.
Yeah,
but,
we got people that'll do that for you there.
Yeah. You got
sold.
people. That's a professional gym.
Well, Flemington, New Jersey is a wonderful place for a third gym when you eventually get there and save me a drive.
We're trying to get people to stay the fuck away from New Jersey. Right?
I'm just trying to keep Jay here longer, and the more buildings he's got in New Jersey, the longer he's got to stay.
They're just giving Jay buildings and real estate. He doesn't even want it. He's like, no, guys, stop. He's like, here, take a building, take a business, whatever you want. What do we got to get this guy to do? What do we got to do to get this guy to stay?
Well, Jay, before we let you go, just let everyone know if they're not already following you, what they should check out, Instagram, all your social media, all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So Facebook's just Jay Regalbuto, and on Instagram it's at SmashFastJ. The gym's Studio 84 in Cream Ridge, and Studio 84 in Columbus will be open June 1st. Mats will be in at the end of this month, like the 24th. I think the mats come in. He's going to start making his way out in about a week, and he's doing like a little seminar thing on his way out. So June 1st, mats will be down, classes will be running. And then South Jersey Brazilian Jiu Jitsu in Berlin. I'm there at 6 a.m. But again, they have a huge class schedule. Like I said, tons of students in there. Both schools, man, for kids, teens, adults, women, kickboxing, boxing, you name it, they both got it all, man. One's that Studio 84 is more central Jersey, and South Jersey is obviously more southern New Jersey.
Jay, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. We were really looking forward to talking to you.
Man. I always enjoy doing stuff like this.
Yeah, we were really pumped for this one for sure. So
awesome, man.
We'll have to have you back on again after things settle down. I know you got a busy schedule coming up, but we'll check back in and have you on for some updates and to see what else is going on for sure.
Yeah, you guys do a great job too, man. Like I said,
Thank you, man.
I watched 5. I saw the Mason Fowler. I saw a few of the other Wiltsey. I love Wiltsey.
Yeah, he's a cool dude.
Yeah.
But even the other clips you guys do, like the the other stuff that you guys do is really cool too.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
We appreciate it, man, for sure.
We really do.
Absolutely, man. But yeah, hit me up anytime, man. I'm always available.
Thanks,
We'll
Jay.
do.
And
Thanks,
maybe
Jay.
we'll come get
Take
we'll come get smashed at one of your 6
dude,
a.m.s.
You guys would love it, man. You guys
would.
Either
For
location, you would enjoy it. It's
For
awesome.
sure.
Good people too. It gets your butt kicked, but man, it's cool.
It's worth it.
Awesome.
It's good to get your
take you
butt
up on it
kicked
for sure.
sometimes, but thanks, Jay. We appreciate it, man.
All right,
Have a
thanks,
good
Jay.
night.
Yeah.
Take care, man.
See ya.
All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. Huge thanks to Jay Regalbuto for coming on and talking to us. So we put the links to our social media accounts below. If you want to follow us individually or if you want to follow the show, just give the links a click. Check them out.
Don't forget to check out Epic Roll at epicrollbjj.com and use the coupon code podcast15 to take 15% off your order. If you want to support this show, which we greatly appreciate, visit us on Patreon. The link is below, but it's patreon.com/thatjujitsupodcast. We have tiers there that start as little as $3 a month, and you get tons of bonus content from us. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. And while you're giving it a thumbs up, why not make sure you're subscribed to the channel? Say New Jersey isn't that bad. You're not actually frozen, I can tell, because you just don't want to say Jersey's not bad.
My body won't. I can't even. My body won't allow me to say it. It's so weird.
I'll say
it's like
wrestling's-
liar. It's like liar, liar. New Jersey is not terrible.
We will take it. Jay and I will take it. Good night, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Thanks, guys.